Alright guys, we're going to tie in this Makita, which has been the bane of my existence for the last week or so. I picked this thing up for a really good price because it had supposedly been rebuilt with the big bore top end, and guy supposedly burnt it up and couldn't get it running again. Well, every bit of that was a lie. It was rebuilt with an aftermarket 64cc cylinder, and it was not burnt up again. It actually has never ran. Everything on this was brand new. Brand new piston, brand new cylinder, brand new coil, but could not get it to run right. It would fire off after I made some adjustments to it, but it would literally flood so bad that it was spitting fuel out of both the intake and the exhaust. Never seen it that bad before. But tied into it and ultimately found out that the Welch plug was missing out of the carburetor. So that's what was going on. It was just, slinging fuel in there. Got that fixed. Got it to crank up and run. Came out here yesterday to make some cuts with it, and it was just sluggish as all get out and would not take a tune. It ran and cut decent. Don't get me wrong, but these things are governed at 13,500, and I was lucky if I was getting 8,000. It just was not putting out the RPM. So reached out to a couple guys I know, and they gave me a couple little hints, tips to look into, and I did. But ultimately what it ended up being was the flywheel had sheared the key, and somebody manufactured a key to stick in there, and the timing was so retarded that I couldn't get any RPM out of it. So what I ended up doing last night was pulled that timing key out and did about a 4 or 5 degree advance on it and cinched it back down. Also, it's had an aftermarket coil on it, and I had the OEM coil that came with it. So I put the OEM coil back in, put the timing wheel on, advanced it about 4 or 5 degrees, and then fired it up, and it ran great. So we're fixing to do a little bit of wood tuning. I'm going to do a whole series on this saw. I'm going to put a 52 millimeter aftermarket on here, and then I'll see how it cuts with that, and then I'm going to pull it back off, and I'm going to port that cylinder and see what kind of results we can get out of it. So here we go. I'm going to fire it up and give it a little tune and put it in this wood and see what we got. actually a lot stronger than what I was expecting. Holy crap, that thing's getting it. That is not bad at all for an aftermarket 64cc top end. Heck yeah, I'm excited now. Oh. Thank you guys for the tips on the timing advance and all that. I appreciate y'all. Y'all know who y'all are. That is a completely different saw now. Sweet. All right, well, that's it for today. I got a couple tree jobs I got to go bid. And I got my son in there, so I got to get back to him. But she's a runner. Heck yeah. Y'all have a good one. Take care.